In a world overrun with the fake, delusional, and disingenuous, he stands as a beacon of truth. He is Abuki Cabal. You are listening to Abuki Cabal.
Welcome to the Abuki Cabal Show.
What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great new year. Had happy holidays. Excuse me. I guess it's come to my attention that a lot of my subs are not getting notifications when I make new content. So if you guys, would just come and, check in, and see if I put out anything new, if you hadn't, you want to see old shows or whatever, just go ahead and, browse on through and hit what you want to see. But if you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you could hit that notification button, I'm sure it helps with the algorithm. At least that's what they tell us. But today's show, I think, is going to, we're going to swing back to some of the things that I've covered, kind of in the past. It just keeps popping its head up. So we're going to talk about why, excuse me, we keep having to deal with this intrusive sexuality that's being pushed into almost every aspect of our movies, every medium, our comic books, our action movies, dramas, romance, romantic comedies, whatever the case may be. Everything has to be gay now. Everything, the nuance of everything is gay. No one can write anything interesting unless there's some gay in it. I mean, I guess if the story, demands that there be some exploration of sexuality because of the story, okay, fine. But if it's just thrown in there because of this new inclusion standard that's being, pressed upon the people who run these mediums, then I think it's just not a good thing, and some people may say, well, hey, it's not pushed on anybody, hey, this is a part of life, this is what I mean, gay people are out, they're around, you're going to see them. There's no way for you to not see them. They're your brothers or your sisters and all that, cousins and whatnot. Okay. I get that, but why does it have to be forced upon people who don't want to see it? Like I say, if you go off into to go pick your movies or whatever, and you want to go see cartoons, and then, some person in a black suit, some faceless person just grabs you and pushes you into the gay section, that's going to be a little uncomfortable, because that's not what I didn't want to be in here. I didn't want to see any of this. I didn't want to, have to, be exposed to something that I'm not. It's just not my thing. I don't want to partake of it. Well, that's deemed as homophobia. Somehow you're afraid of it. No, it's not that I'm afraid of it. It's just that I just don't want to consume it. If it's not for me, it's just not for me. And, you're having, a situation where you're starting to have sexuality being pushed in areas where sexuality should not even be present, like to kids, like reading to children. They say it's not, this isn't sexual. But you're, LGBTQ, XYZ, all of those are sexual preferences. So then you have to ask the question, what are you if, how would you describe yourself if you were not allowed to use your sexuality? If you take all of that out of the mix, if you take out gay and lesbian and all of that, then who are you? What are you? How does that, what else is makes up you as a person? And, you would seem that these people are just so shallow and hollow that the only thing that is important about them is their sexual preference. And that's a problem. That's not normal. That's not healthy. You can only have sex for so long. But anyway, I'm going on a tirade. But we're gonna explore this 2021 article where the author was talking about Disney's heteronormative standards and why they need to change. So you see this term heteronormative. Okay, that's their angst against heterosexuality being deemed normal, but it is normal. That's the way we procreate. That's the way nature makes every, type of animal in the animal kingdom has to have a bifurcated, system that basically allows for males and females to mate with each other and to create offspring. Now, you can't do that through these other forms of sexuality. So those are just fun, I guess is what that's fun to them. It's not for procreation. But then you have this, this movement now to where they, like I said, we got off into the last show where we talked about, the birthing pods. Part of the movement for these birthing pods, is the support is so that it basically nullifies the importance of having a uterus. Now you don't have to have a uterus. You can just be a guy who basically transitioned, and then you can, basically, I guess, go get some genetic material, and then you got a kid, But somewhere in the mix in there, you're going to have a male and a female. There's no way that you're going to be able to have a male and a male and you guys have baby, or a female and a female and y'all have babies. So somewhere in that mix, you're going to have to defer to what is considered to be normative, okay? Normal ways in which, procreation takes place, or, you're going to have to, well, no, there's no way for you to get around it. You're going to have to take some sperm and an egg, male and female parts, and you're going to have to put those together, and you're going to have to make a baby. Unless by some strange, new science that they're able to take some tissue samples and some genetic material from both of you guys and somehow make a child that you guys would be basically a clone of the two of you, then maybe so. Then, that might be a possibility. That's not, it's not available right now, but I'm sure that there's somebody somewhere that's trying to make it easy for this type of procreation to come about. So let's take a look at this article, and then I'm going to look at another article that I think you're going to probably find pretty interesting. So again, this was in March 15, 2021, Disney's heteronormative standards and why they need to change. Okay. So this is going to probably bring into focus some of the things that we talked about in the past. They always say that they're not trying to push anything on people. They're not trying to make anybody do anything or make anybody consume anything that they shouldn't have to. And, there's whatever, all of the things that they say. We all know the shaming language that they use. It's not that different from what women use to make men, manipulate men into doing what they want to do. So let's go ahead and get into this. And yeah, here we go.
Disney's heteronormative standards and why they need to change. March 15, 2021. Prompt, Op-Ed Competition 2021. 3. As a kid, I sat with my eyes glued to the TV, watching The Little Mermaid over and over again. I was, in short, obsessed. But as I grew older, and came out as LGBTQ+, I realized that Disney gave me zero representation. Aside from blink and you'll miss it moments that amounted to virtually nothing. Although Disney makes millions of dollars every year with their heteronormative movies, it teaches younger kids, who are easily influenced, that being heterosexual and cisgender is normal, and gives no representation to LGBTQ+ youth.
Let's stop it there. Okay. They make millions of dollars a year, every year, with their heteronormative movies. It teaches younger kids who are easily influenced that being heterosexual or cisgender is normal and gives no representation of LGBTQ youth. Okay, first of all, when you're a kid and you're watching movies like Little Mermaid, sexuality should be the farthest thing from your mind. You shouldn't even be thinking about sex. Sex should not even be in that at all. The Little Mermaid was about kids. So why is it you got all of this push against, kids being groomed and kids being put in sexual situations, but there is no movement against this sector of the victim crew who are basically trying to expose children to sexuality out in the open. This is what this proposal is that they want representation for all of this, the sexuality in a movie that is about kids. It's about fantasy, about getting away from the real world. It's not about sex, and it's not about anything that's going to be grown up. And we used to have a good grasp of that. I mean, we used to watch Tom and Jerry or, Bugs Bunny, whatever the case may be. This is like somebody coming out and saying that Bugs Bunny doesn't represent us and we need to have a gay rabbit in there along with the female rabbit and all of that. And we need a gay representation for each and every character. How would that sound? That would sound crazy as hell. And this sounds crazy, but everybody's afraid of saying anything about this. But we just going to keep on pecking at this because this is crazy. None of these children need to be exposed to sexuality. You're not exposed to sexuality until you reach a certain age, and that in the public schools, and that's when they start talking to you about sex. Kids are being exposed too early, which is causing all kinds of problems. That's why kids shouldn't have phones before a certain amount of time, or those phones need to be locked to a certain degree because kids need to be allowed to be kids. Okay, let's move on.
Understandably, Disney makes billions of dollars every year with their movies and may lose some of that money if they included LGBTQ+ characters because they would lose the support of homophobes and transphobes. While their characters and messages have been improving, like in the 2017 film, Beauty and the Beast, where Gaston dances with a man near the end, they still refuse to give LGBTQ+ youth the representation they need and deserve. In the end, Disney needs to take a larger step forward and create a movie with a leading LGBTQ+ character. Every year, Disney...
Okay. Well, they just did that. They did that with this last movie. I'm not sure what the movie is, but it was a really gay themed movie, and it crashed in the box office. I mean, it bombed. So, we see this all the time. I mean, we saw this with them pushing for Superman's son to be gay and him having a boyfriend, and the sales of that comic book are trash. We just like I did, the stories about going back and changing legacy characters into gay people when they have never been gay, and they always had a long, rich history of having heterosexual relationships. Now, if you want to make a gay character, I mean, look, case in point, anytime the X-Men introduce a new character, they just introduce a new character, and this character has a certain amount of powers, and then as a side exposure type thing, you see that, hey, they happen to be gay or whatever the case may be, but that is the smallest aspect of the story. regarding that character or that character's development. It's more about the powers. No one cares about your sexuality. No one cares about any of that. No one cares about, any of that with regard to, these action movies. You just want action. And really, I feel the same way about heterosexual interaction too. If we're going to be doing all this, let's just take all the sex out of the movies. Altogether. If you want sex, then you should go get you some porn. Then you can see all of whatever you want to see, but all these other interactions, I just want them to be just basic vanilla interactions. We don't have to have all of this. We don't even have to have a whole bunch of kissing and none of that. We don't have to have any of that. Just basically allude to the fact that, hey, some blah, 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 sometime down in the past, so-and-so had a baby. We're not going to even go into how it happened. Here's the mom, here's the dad, whatever the case may be, we don't have to go off into all of that. But then, look at this stuff that happened with Thor. You got Korg. Korg goes to a volcano and rubs up and down with another rock man to make rubble to make, a baby, I can't remember what they call them. Rock band. That's crazy. That's crazy. And the reason why I say that's crazy is because that has never happened anywhere in the history of biology. Never. See, and this is where science meets this fictional story that these people have put together, and it just doesn't go together. It doesn't fit together. The Legos don't fit. You got Lincoln Logs and you got Legos. They don't fit together. They can't make shit. They can't make nothing. Okay? Because they don't go together. Now, we've got a society now that's moving away from science, facts, statistics, anything that is legitimate data. And we're moving towards, separate truths. And that may be your truth, and this is my truth. Two things can be right at the same time. And all these type of things that basically allow for people to fantastically come to whatever result that they want to. So there are no restrictions. Imagine if we built bridges and we said, well, fuck, I just feel like this is the right measurement. You know what I mean? I just feel like this can handle this amount of weight. And then all of a sudden people ride across it and everybody dies. That's what we're up against now. But let's move on.
Disney makes billions of dollars. In 2018, they made $12.6 billion. In 2019, they made $11.05 billion. They are able to pay their 32,000 workers at Disneyland a total of $19.68 million a day. So clearly, they aren't having any financial issues. Making a little bit less money from a movie? Not a problem for them. So if they made a movie with a LGBTQ+ lead, and if it didn't make as much money as their heteronormative ones, which it might not, they still wouldn't have money problems. And that's assuming.
So now they're proposing that Disney starts to conduct bad business, which they have shareholders that basically don't take kindly in them losing money. But just for the sake of having some representation of the LGBTQ folks, they want you to go ahead and make a movie that makes no money, that nobody's interested in, except for basically, what is it? The gay folks make up like 0.7% of the population, but they want them to make representation like they're 50%? 80%, 70%? What's the number that they want? Because I can tell you that the interest in it is not as great as the push that people are putting towards it. So let's move on.
That it won't make as much money. This is a common misconception. Although it might not appeal to the homophobes and transphobes, it will appeal to the LGBTQ+ community and everyone else. Steven Universe, a TV show created by Rebecca Sugar, is decidedly popular with a net worth of $7.5 million, Statsmash.com. 1,572,000 people watched the movie, based off of the TV show, and both pieces have numerous LGBTQ+ characters. If Disney created a movie with a LGBTQ plus lead, they would not only gain a large sum of money, they would also gain the admiration and respect of LGBTQ plus people and allies. Disney says they seek to entertain people, so why don't they start entertaining everyone? LGBTQ plus people aren't just teenagers realizing their sexual and gender orientation. Little kids, even 3-year-olds, know who they are. And when little kids, who are much more malleable than older ones, see heterosexual characters kissing and bringing people back to life, causing fireworks, and making flowers grow, what do they think? They think that they are supposed to be heterosexual and cisgender and not be who they are.
Do you hear that? 3-year-olds? 3-year-olds are sexual now? Okay, if you've had a basic science background, a basic biology background, basic anatomy and physiology background, microbiology, you name it, cell biology, whatever. All those things together are going to tell you that basically what that person just said was a load of crap. There's no basis for it whatsoever. But they want to basically reach out to 3-year-olds in a sexual way to explain sexuality, where 3-year-olds they're not even thinking about sexuality. This is criminal. That's what that is. This is criminal. And for them to be pushing this on kids through a kids medium is crazy. If you want that kind of stuff, you need to go to anime or something and let them go ahead and make cartoons that are basically made anime that's going to be for a more grown audience, a teenage audience. Okay, now that would be fine. But the people that make that into a genre where people who want to see it go see it. But you cannot force the majority of the population to consume something that they do not want to consume. This is insane. And I don't see how people just don't see that this is, you want to talk about grooming kids. This is grooming kids. Grooming kids so that when they get to the age of puberty, that they'll be open to any kind of sexual advance, that's they're exposed to. They won't know what's right. They won't know if heterosexuality is right, if LGBTQ XYZ is right. They don't know. They're just going to tell them pick one. Okay? We've even gone to the point to where we can't even say that a boy is a boy or a girl is a girl when they're born because we're saying that they're assigned a gender at birth. This is all new. This is all stuff. They're making things more complicated than it has ever been in the history of mankind. And this is insane, and it must stop. People are going to have to start holding these people accountable for the damage that they're doing to society. This is crazy. But let's move on.
Or love who they love. This then contributes to internalized homophobia and transphobia, which is detrimental to LGBTQ plus people's health and is incredibly harmful. Another problem is that homosexual kisses are shown to be disgusting.
Okay, what about the health of heterosexual people? What about the mental health of heterosexual people who are exposed to this? And they're about to get into this where they're showing that homosexual kisses are seen to be gross. Well, what about for people who actually see that, who have a visceral reaction, to seeing that and an aversion to it? What about those people? Nobody cares about those people. They just want their stuff to be okay. Damn everybody else. This is crazy, man. This is truly crazy. But let's finish up.
Unnatural. As Renee Davidson, the author of Why Are There No Gay Disney Characters?, said, far from breaking spells and sparking fireworks, signs of queer sexuality generate only ridicule and disgust. When Timon and Pumbaa accidentally touch lips in The Lion King, both immediately appear stunned, horrified and even queasy. The opening scene of Princess and the Frog similarly remarks on the laughable nature of queer sexuality. When Tiana exits a streetcar, she leaves a would-be male suitor to make an advance on the man who's taken her place. causing the man to frown with deep disapproval and the suitor to ashamedly shrink away. Little kids are taught that this is wrong, and that is not okay. They need and deserve representation, and Disney needs to give them that. Davidson's point also brings up another problem that Disney has: queer coding. Queer coding is when creators give a character stereotypical aspects of LGBTQ+ people. For example, a male villain who is soft-spoken and feminine. And unfortunately, Disney only does this to their villains. This then teaches kids that queerness and femininity in men directly corresponds to evil. And not only that, but Disney also has included queer baiting in their movies. As Rogan Shannon, the author of Queer Coding and Queer Baiting, says, queer baiting is the practice to hint at, but then to not actually depict, a same-sex romantic relationship between characters in a work of fiction, mainly in film or television. The potential romance may be ignored, explicitly rejected, or made fun of. Disney does this all.
Okay, so that's queer baiting, because if you don't actually show an explicit gay sex scene, then you're basically leading the gay community on. That's queer baiting. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. So I guess if they lead us on and like these movies where they don't actually show the sex, that's hetero baiting. So when we really want to see them get down, we should be up in arms. We should bring out the torches and be outside of Disney going, "Hey, we want actual sex. We want actual sex." Is that what we should be doing? They go and they write these books and they make up these terms like cisgender and queer coding and queer baiting, and we're getting all of these new words and new shaming language to make you go out and consume some gay stuff. You will eat this gay pie and you'll like it. That's pretty much where we're at now, and they are actually writing a proposal to basically pitch to children who are not of a sexual age, haven't even hit puberty. We're pitching sexuality to them through a company that basically has made billions of dollars off of basically content marketed to kids. Now, if this were to happen with anybody else, any other organization, these people would be in jail. They'd be locked up. They be called pedos and all kinds of other stuff. All kinds of laws are put in place for you not to expose children to any of this type of content. Even back when I was a kid. I'm 52 years old, and I'm telling you, you were not. If there's something was on TV that was sexual, you couldn't even be in the room. You got to get out. We didn't even discuss sex. You weren't even thinking about sex until maybe, 12, maybe, So now it's just like, they want to introduce you to it at 3 years old. They want you to look at, all kinds of cartoons with gay, tropes in them and stories and all of that. This is unacceptable. Please tell me I'm not the only person who sees that this is unacceptable. I hope that there are still people in the world who still have good sense to know that this is not appropriate. Okay, let's move on.
All the time. They create two male or female characters, because there will never be a non-binary person in one of their movies, who clearly show affection for each other, and when the audience asks if they are a couple, what does Disney say? There are two possible responses. 1. A. It's up to the audience to decide. What does this really mean? It means this: we will never make a homosexual relationship canon. Then there is the second response. 2. What? No. They're just friends. Translation: oh no. We made them gay and the audience actually noticed. Let's just backtrack and pretend this never happened. Really, Disney? We all know you can do better. One of the largest problems is this: little kids are much more malleable than older ones. What you're taught as a young kid stays with you your entire life. And Disney's movies are targeted towards a younger audience. Their movies teach kids that heterosexuality leads to magic and fireworks and wishes coming true. There is no LGBTQ plus representation, other than barely noticeable moments that the little kid won't even remember, and those moments are only in newer movies. When you have little to no representation, you assume that what isn't there is unaccepted by society. Disney is supposed to be the company that created the happiest place on earth. But how can it be that if it flat out refuses to give an entire community the respect they deserve?
Okay, there you have it. Now, here's a key word, key sentence here. One of the largest problems is this: little kids are much more malleable than older ones. Now, see, this lets you know what they're after. They want that to be able to shape that child's mind so that the next generation will not be as stern about not tolerating certain types of behavior out in public and whatnot, certain types of sexuality, what they deem to be as, fear, phobias and all of that. No, it's not that. It's just that you have a natural response when you see certain things. When you're a kid and you don't even know what gay is, kids will say, "Isn't that a boy? Why is he doing that?" You don't even have to say anything. It could be before you ever even, talk about any of that. They could have never been exposed to any of that at all, and they will have a response to it that is not right. Okay? Now, they blame the parents for that. They blame the surroundings, their environment for that. But then you're still talking about 0.7% of the entire population of the United States. Now, when you start talking about of the entire world, it's even smaller in relation to the entire population. Okay? Now, we're already having issues with, fertility rates, numbers of children being born, and now they're trying to inject even more of this into the population where people can't even decide whether they want to, really do, normal sex or not, and they say, there's supposed to be all this magic and fireworks and wishes that come true when you have heterosexual, sex in movies. Yeah, you have children. You have children and you have families. That's magic. That's fireworks. You have a mommy and a daddy. And from that mommy and daddy, guess what might happen? Gay kids come from mommies and daddies. They don't come from gay daddies and mommies and mommies. That just doesn't happen. So in order for more of you guys to be born, y'all got to let the normal sexual process take place. Okay? And unfortunately, I know, unfortunate truths are truths nonetheless. Okay? So you have to acknowledge the truth about whatever situation that you're dealing with. You just can't just willy-nilly just make things up. I know it's hard to deal with that, but you gotta embrace reality at some point. If you want to go and you want to get engaged in all kinds of other sexual activity, that's fine. That's your recreational stuff that you do. But just know when you make that choice that you can't have kids. You know what I mean? You can change yourself into a facsimile of what a woman is, but you'll never have the whole package because it's just not possible. It's like camouflage. I can put camouflage on, I can look like a tree, but I'll never be a tree. Okay? I can hide in trees, kind of look like a tree, but I'm really not a tree. But for a short period of time, I can do tree shit and jump out on people and be able to, sneak up on them and stuff by looking like a tree. Kind of like chameleons changing their colors and whatnot based on their background and their environment. It's because it's to hide, But they don't really think that they're, leaves and trees and rocks and stuff. They don't, come on. Anyway, I digress. Okay, this was a nice little article here, but here's the juicy one here. Now I don't, you guys know me. I don't really care for Republicans very much, but let's take a look at what old Ron DeSantis did this past Friday. Okay. The DeSantis administration responds after children reportedly spotted at explicit children's Christmas-themed drag show. Wow. Okay. So here we see, they're doing some of the things that they talked about doing in this article that was from years ago. But you can go back even farther. You can go back to the 90s and all that. You'll still see some of the same, ideas and things that they wanted to do into the future. They just weren't really, nobody was letting them do that stuff in the past. But the more they pushed into the future, more and more of this stuff is being allowed under, this term inclusion. Okay, but let's move on with this article. This is really, really good. So it says the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, DBPR, responded to reports that children were spotted at an explicit Orlando drag show in a Thursday statement to the Daily Caller. The DBPR sent a letter to the Orlando Philharmonic Plaza Foundation, warning the organization it may lose its venue license if it did in fact allow underage attendance at a Christmas-themed drag show Wednesday. The letter came after the DBPR launched an investigation into an explicit drag show Monday in Fort Lauderdale that was open to all ages. Protesters gathered outside the Orlando show Wednesday night, and videos by the press appeared to show children in attendance at the event. Drag queens at the show danced in explicit ways to songs such as Screwed Off, The Red Nippled Reindeer, according to reports. DBPR is actively investigating this matter. The DBPR told the Caller, as stated in the letter our agency sent yesterday, Wednesday, if minors are allowed to attend this drag show, the department will take any and all action available to ensure that you do not pose a threat to minors in the future. The department will complete its investigation and act accordingly. The Orlando Philharmonic Plaza Foundation did not respond to the Daily Caller's request for comment by the time of publication. Okay. Now, here's a related video investigating a Christmas drag show where children were present. And this is Straight Arrow News. Let me see if I wonder if I can show this to you guys without getting tagged. Okay. All right. Let's see. I will go back. Here. Well, that didn't work. All right. Well, they didn't let me play it. So anyway, I will put this, a link to this in the description. And, we can chop it up in the comments as always. And we can talk about, the importance of this new situation that's being thrust upon us. And what we need to do about it. I mean, this is crazy and something needs to be done. And you know what? I applaud DeSantis for doing something about this. I think more people should do something to protect children from this type of introduction to sexuality and this confusion that's being thrust upon hapless individuals in all around the country. This is just unfortunate. And it just shows that a lot of people lack the courage to protect children from being introduced to sexuality before they are able to basically choose on their own, whether they want to go the way of, the 0.7% or whether they want to go with the rest of society. So this grooming has to stop, and, it's unfortunate that this is where we are, but this is where we are. And this is just crazy, y'all. And I put this little, this this cartoon up here because it pretty much covers it. You got a preacher here, and he's trying to get them the Bible, and you got a drag queen up here, saying stop pushing your beliefs on me. But it's the exact opposite. You have a small group of the population that's trying to push their beliefs, not even their beliefs, but their sexuality, something that should be behind closed doors. Nobody should even, we shouldn't be, exposed to your sexuality on a job or any of that. But now we have to take into consideration somebody's sexuality on the job. You can't discriminate against somebody because they're gay. How would I even know that you're gay unless you expose to me your sexuality? And that's what it's coming down to. First, we started out with, them being able to have a cake baked for them, and then it turned into, we shouldn't care about what they're doing in the privacy of their own homes. Okay, then that passed. Then we passed, they're going to be able to get married. So now they got married. So then after that, now we're trying to get them they're trying to push into every aspect of media and schools and, little kids and all of that. And to the point to where it is disrupting the normal social standards that have been set up for centuries. This is insane. This is what you call societal pressure. Okay. Now, usually societal pressures will whip people into, going along with the crowd. Okay. But now you have a small sector of society that's trying to make the rest of society switch around to what they want to do. Okay. This has never been the case. But societal pressures usually work in a positive way to, eliminate itself, from having to deal with murderers and rapists and things like that, and people who are just not able to function with the rest of society. But now it's being pushed into a whole another direction, and I'm interested to see how sociologists, philosophers, and psychologists will be dealing with this in the future, and the ramifications of this. Are we going to wait until after, the society has been ruined and destroyed for us to look back and say, this is when it happened? Or are we going to stop it before it gets to that point? We have medical professionals who don't even want to even get into that. We're changing paperwork and whatnot to not even acknowledge male and female standards when we know that, look, certain medications are specific to male and female, anatomies, but then if we can't even, really say what's male and what's female, then how are we supposed to address issues that are unique to males and females? This is getting out of hand. But anyway, I'm going on and on, but hey, I appreciate you guys, coming out and hanging out. Again, it looks like, my notifications are not going out. I'm hearing that a lot. So you guys check in and just kind of, keep up with me, and hopefully we'll keep this train running, and I'll keep putting out good stories for you guys. I hope you guys like the content. I appreciate you guys and all your support. Thank you for coming out again, and happy holidays.
I feel like a